Imagine walking into a beautifully scented room, fresh linen candle burning, soft perfume wafting from your clothes, and your favorite makeup perfectly applied. It feels comforting, familiar. Now imagine every one of those choices quietly disrupting your hormones, compromising your fertility, or even raising your cancer risk. That's not an exaggeration. It's where science is leading us. Most of us don't stop to question these daily rituals because they're so deeply embedded in how we live. But here's what I've come to realize, and what we're going to unpack today. Your environment, your products, and even the air you breathe inside your home could be contributing to fatigue, fertility struggles, and chronic illness. These things don't just show up out of nowhere. They build up over time, and they often begin with what we touch, inhale, or absorb through our skin. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about fear. It's about awareness. You do not need to live in a bubble. You just need to get savvy. There are practical, empowering, scientifically sound ways to reduce your toxic load. And the best part? You don't need a chemistry degree or a complete life overhaul. And you just need to know what to look for and how to swap smarter. In the last 50 years, infertility has risen by about 1% every single year. That's not anecdotal. It's published in Scientific American. And when you talk to people who've spent decades studying the chemical industry, it becomes alarmingly clear that our exposure to synthetic chemicals in food, water, air, and products is one of the biggest contributors. So today, we're going to cover the toxic truth behind many of the items we use every single day, where the risks really are, and how to make safer choices without spending a fortune. Because the good news is, once you know the danger zones, you can start building a safer, healthier life from the inside out. Let's start by addressing the elephant in the room. Most of the chemicals we're exposed to daily were never really tested long-term for safety. Much of that safety data comes from short-term studies, or from models that don't reflect the way real people are exposed, day after day, in low doses, through dozens of sources. That cumulative exposure is what scientists call your toxic load, and it adds up fast, especially when you consider how many of these chemicals aren't even listed on product labels. Fragrance, for example, is a legal black box. It can contain dozens of different chemicals, including endocrine disruptors like phthalates, and companies don't have to disclose them because fragrance formulas are protected as trade secrets. Same goes for natural flavors. The term sounds benign, even healthy, but it's another catch-all that can hide synthetic chemicals. A food label might say it contains natural vanilla flavor, but that vanilla may have come from clove oil or even petrochemical derivatives, not the vanilla bean. And even the food manufacturers who buy those flavor blends often don't know exactly what's in them. Only the flavor companies do. This is where things get dangerous, because we've been trained to trust that if it's on the shelf, it must be safe. But as we now know, safety testing doesn't always account for long-term use, hormone disruption, or the way certain chemicals interact in the body. Take PFAS, or per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances. These are sometimes called forever chemicals, because they persist in the body and the environment for decades. They're added to non-stick pans, waterproof clothing, and even makeup. They don't break down easily, and once they're in your system, they accumulate. Studies have linked them to endocrine disruption, cancer, and immune suppression. One of the most alarming facts is that over 90% of products found to have high levels of PFAS never listed them on the label. That means you could be using a waterproof mascara or long-wear lipstick that's laced with these chemicals without ever knowing it. So what can you do about all this? You start by recognizing the biggest contributors to toxic load. Think about the things you use every single day, what you put on your skin, what you breathe in, and what goes into your mouth. Products that sit on your skin for hours, like lotion or deodorant, or that go inside your body, like toothpaste or period products, matter more than the occasional cleaning spray. And no, you don't need to throw everything out at once, but once you know what to look for, you can begin making smarter choices, one product, one room, one habit at a time. Let's get into the specifics now. If we want to reduce our toxic load in a meaningful way, we need to identify the biggest sources of exposure in everyday life. And the truth is, it's not always the obvious ones. It's often the products we trust the most, our personal care items, period products, household staples, because they've been on the shelf for decades. But decades of use doesn't equal decades of safety. Let's start with personal care products. If you're using conventional deodorant, body lotion, perfume, or makeup, you are very likely applying endocrine disruptors directly to your skin every single day. One of the most common offenders is fragrance. It's listed on everything from face cream to laundry detergent, and it almost always includes phthalates, plasticizer chemicals that help scent linger longer. Studies have shown a large number of fragrances contain phthalates, which are directly linked to hormone disruption, infertility, and even obesity. Now consider antiperspirants. These don't just mask odor, they use aluminum salts to physically block sweat glands. But sweating is a critical detox pathway. When you stop that natural process, well, you're preventing your body from releasing toxins through the skin. And it gets worse. Aluminum has been found in breast tissue and in breast cancer samples. It has estrogenic properties, meaning it can mimic estrogen in the body, further contributing to hormonal imbalance. And if that weren't enough, deodorants also contain parabens, PEGs, and other penetration enhancers that help these chemicals absorb faster and deeper. Parabens, for example, were found in 97% of breast cancer tumors sampled in one major study. PEGs, polyethylene glycols, are listed on labels as PEG, followed by a number, and they're used to help other ingredients penetrate the skin. That might sound effective, but when you're talking about aluminum or synthetic fragrance, that's the last thing you want. Period products are another major source of exposure that's often overlooked. Conventional tampons and pads are often made with bleached cotton and plastic, both of which can contain contaminants like dioxins, heavy metals, and even benzene. And remember, the vaginal wall is highly absorbent. It's a route of drug delivery in medicine. So anything that goes there has direct access to your bloodstream without passing through the liver for detox. A recent study found that women who used conventional tampons had higher levels of heavy metals in their bodies and signs of oxidative stress, which is a marker of toxic burden. So what are safer options? Look for organic cotton tampons without fragrance. Even better, switch to bamboo-based reusable period underwear or menstrual cups made from medical-grade silicone. These are not only safer, they're also more cost-effective and eco-friendly in the long run. Now let's talk about household products. Your toilet paper may seem harmless, but most conventional options are bleached, contain formaldehyde and dioxins, and are used on the most sensitive areas of the body multiple times a day. Worse yet, recycled toilet paper can contain BPA, which comes from thermal receipt paper that gets tossed into recycling bins. BPA is another known endocrine disruptor linked to fertility issues and cancer. Cleaning products, air fresheners, and even scented trash bags release volatile organic compounds, VOCs, that can irritate the lungs, disrupt hormones, and linger in the air. These products are problematic even when they're not in use. A closed bottle of scented cleaner can still off-gas harmful chemicals into your home. Instead, look for brands that disclose their full ingredient list and use natural formulations. Branch Basics and Meliora are great examples that are effective and transparent. Let's not forget cookware. Non-stick pans made with Teflon or other PFAS-based coatings may seem convenient, but they release harmful fumes when overheated, and the coatings can flake off over time. If you must use non-stick, make sure there are no chips or cracks, but ideally, switch to pure ceramic cookware. Dr. Burkhart recommends brands like Extrema, which are free of glazes and coatings. Even sunscreen isn't safe from scrutiny. Many conventional brands use synthetic UV filters, like oxybenzone and avobenzone, which absorb into the bloodstream and may disrupt hormones. Mineral-based sunscreens with zinc oxide or titanium dioxide are safer options, and avoid aerosol sprays entirely. Not only do they often miss the skin, but they create clouds of inhalable toxins. All of this may sound overwhelming, but it's actually very freeing. Because once you know where the biggest sources are, you can focus your energy and your budget on the changes that matter most. Start with the products you use daily, especially those that sit on your skin or go into your body. That's where you'll get the biggest return on your investment in health. Now let's talk about detoxing for kids and families, because if anyone deserves a low-tox environment, it's our children. Their systems are still developing, their bodies are smaller, and their detox pathways aren't fully functional yet. That means the same chemical exposure that an adult might tolerate can have a much bigger impact on a child. Toxic insults during early childhood don't just disrupt hormones temporarily, they can change the way DNA is expressed, interfere with brain development, and increase susceptibility to illness later in life. This is not just about avoiding disease in the future. It's about protecting growth, behavior, mood, and immune resilience now. So how do we make detoxing doable for families without turning into the no-fun household? First, look at food. Many kids' snacks and meals are loaded with food dyes, artificial flavors, preservatives, and sugar. These aren't just junky, they're toxic. Food dyes like Red 40 and Yellow 5 are banned in Europe due to their link to hyperactivity and behavioral issues. Artificial flavors fall into the same black box category we discussed earlier, and excess sugar, it feeds inflammation and suppresses immune function. Instead, focus on nutrient-dense whole foods, colorful fruits and vegetables, grass-fed meats, organic eggs, and clean fats. If that feels intimidating, start with breakfast. Swapping out sugary cereals for protein and fiber-rich options like eggs, oatmeal, or smoothies can make a big difference. Next, look at personal care products. Many baby shampoos, lotions, and wipes contain the same fragrance and pegs we talked about earlier. Go for unscented, minimal ingredient alternatives and ditch anything labeled tear-free. That often means it contains numbing agents. Let kids sweat. Movement is one of the simplest and most effective ways to support detox. Encourage outdoor play, nature walks, jumping on the trampoline, anything that gets their blood and lymph moving. If they're old enough, Epsom salt baths a couple of times a week can help replenish magnesium and support detox pathways gently. Some teens may even benefit from short sauna sessions under supervision. Hydration is key too. Water should always be the go-to drink. Juice may seem innocent, but it's usually loaded with sugar and offers little nutrition. Help your kids develop the taste for plain water early. If they resist, infuse it with berries or citrus slices for fun. And don't forget the simple things. Get sunlight every day. Walk barefoot in the grass when you can. Open the windows. These basic habits support circadian rhythms, immune function, and mood without costing a dime. Now that we've talked about where toxins come from and how to minimize exposure, it's time to address a huge obstacle on this journey: greenwashing. This is when companies use marketing language to make their products seem safer, cleaner, or more natural than they actually are. You'll see it everywhere. On packaging that says organic, eco-friendly, plant-based, or non-toxic. But here's the hard truth. None of those terms are legally regulated in the personal care or household product industry. They can mean everything or nothing. A product labeled natural could still contain synthetic fragrance, parabens, and even known carcinogens. That's why it's essential to look past the front of the label and read the ingredients list. You don't need a PhD to do this. You just need to know a few red flags. If you see the word fragrance, that's almost always a no. Same with parfum. Unless a company specifically states that its scent comes from essential oils and discloses every ingredient, you can assume there are endocrine disrupting chemicals inside. Pegs will appear as PEG, followed by a number. Those are penetration enhancers. Parabens show up with prefixes like methyl, ethyl, propyl, or butyl. These are preservatives linked to hormone disruption and breast cancer. Words like waterproof, longwear, or smudge-proof on cosmetics often signal PFAS chemicals, which we know accumulate in the body and don't break down. And in toothpaste, watch out for fluoride and sodium lauryl sulfate, or SLS. Fluoride has been flagged for neurotoxicity, especially in developing brains. SLS is a foaming agent that can damage oral tissues and cause canker sores. Even natural flavors in food should raise a flag. They're still processed chemicals, often created in labs, and they can contain solvents, preservatives, and emulsifiers that aren't listed individually. It might feel like you need to memorize a dozen chemical names, but you don't. Just start with the biggest red flags. Learn them, avoid them, and remember that the simpler the product, the safer it usually is. And if a brand isn't transparent about what's inside, that's your answer. You deserve to know exactly what you're putting on and into your body. Let's pull all of this together with some clear, practical takeaways. Because while the science can be sobering, the solutions are empowering. This journey toward low-tox living is not about doing everything perfectly. It's about stacking better choices, one by one, in a way that fits your life. So here are your key takeaways from today's conversation. First, toxins are everywhere, but not all exposures are equal. The ones that matter most are the ones you experience frequently and over time. That means your deodorant, toothpaste, makeup, period products, and cleaning supplies are more important than a once-a-year lipstick or occasional takeout container. Second, your skin is not a barrier. It's a sponge. What you put on your body matters just as much as what you put in it. Products with fragrance, pegs, parabens, aluminum, or PFAS have no place in your daily routine. You don't have to memorize every chemical. Just know the red flags and choose brands that are transparent. Third, food and water are foundational. Processed foods, artificial flavors, dyes, and synthetic preservatives increase toxic burden. Clean water, real food, and mineral-rich hydration help your body detox naturally. You don't need fancy supplements. You need fiber, nutrients, movement, sleep, and sunlight. Fourth, don't overlook air quality. Scented candles, cleaning sprays, synthetic furniture, and flame retardant treated fabrics release volatile chemicals that you breathe in every day. Open windows so you can use HEPA filters. And remember, your home doesn't have to smell like lavender for it to be clean. Fifth, stress is a toxin too. Orthorexia, fear, and overwhelm don't serve your health. This is about empowerment, not perfection. Choose calm, choose presence, choose progress. So what are the actionable steps to start reducing your toxic load today? Let's break them down into 5 simple moves you can make this week. Step 1, do a personal product audit. Start in your bathroom. Look at your deodorant, toothpaste, skincare, and makeup. Identify 1 or 2 products you use every single day that contain fragrance, aluminum, pegs, or parabens, and swap them out. Prioritize what sits on your skin or goes into your mouth. Step 2, upgrade your air and water. Open your windows for 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at night. If you're able, get a HEPA air purifier for the bedroom. And if you haven't already, install a water filter, either a pitcher with solid black carbon or a more comprehensive system for drinking and showering. Step 3, detox your family's food. Choose 1 processed item you buy every week, like snack bars, cereals, or frozen meals, and replace it with a cleaner, real food alternative. Focus on reducing food dyes and artificial flavors, especially for kids. Step 4, build detox habits into your daily rhythm. Drink more clean water. Take Epsom salt baths. Get sunlight on your skin early in the day. Move your body in ways that make you sweat. Touch the earth with your bare feet. These small practices open your detox pathways naturally. And step 5, embrace simplicity. The fewer products you use, the fewer toxins you're exposed to. Let your skin breathe. Let your home smell like nothing. Let your body do what it was designed to do, heal, regenerate, and thrive. You are not powerless. You are not behind. Every choice you make from here is a vote for your health and your future.